I ran for the bimps. Been so many downs, so many bits. Now I'm coming down, you'll lower your looks. I was born from worth for your limbs. I'll burn your bones.
Hello, and welcome to Volsteadland. This season, which is the first of, I hope, many, we will explore the life of the notorious gangster from Minneapolis, Minnesota, called Kid Cann. We are your hosts. I'm Amy.
And I'm Heather. So, Amy, why are we here? What started all of this?
Well, several years ago, my husband and I were preparing to sell our house in uptown Minneapolis. Our friends/realtors, a husband and wife team, were at our home hosting an open house. The wife, my friend Melissa, had a strange experience in the mostly empty home, which led to my learning about this Minnesota mobster. Neither she or I had ever heard of him before this event. Her experience is fascinating, and we'll cover that too. But it led me down a path to learning all about Isadore Blumenfeld, or Blumenfeld, a.k.a. Kid Cann, a.k.a. a bunch of other aliases. And I thought, this story is not well known, but it should be, and I felt like it was just too good not to share. So I decided to create this podcast.
Just a disclaimer here. This podcast is not meant to glorify organized crime or this man personally. We understand that Kid Cann and his crew caused a lot of pain to a lot of people, and we don't want to downplay that. We just found his story really interesting and thought you might too, whether or not you have ties to Minneapolis.
Heather, do you want to give us just a little taste of what we'll be covering in this series?
Sure. In the Prohibition years of Minneapolis, Minnesota, there was an underworld. Gangs of bootleggers, bandits, sluggers, and murderers roamed the streets and conducted their business. One of the most legendary figures of that time was Isadore Blumenfeld, also known as Kid Cann. He began as a newsboy but grew into the most notorious gangster Minneapolis had ever known, and either a raging psychopath or the nicest guy you've ever met, depending on who you ask. Volsteadland explores this world.
Join us as we journey through this era of prohibition, bootlegging, speakeasies, and bank robberies, not to mention corrupt police and government officials, empty promises, and murders. What I found so interesting about all of this is how Kid Cann was able to wiggle out of nearly every scrap he got himself into. Spoiler alert, it pays to have friends in high places.
Our research has been gathered mostly online from articles, forums, and newspaper archives, but also from books and first-hand accounts, or at least the passed-down stories from first-hand accounts. He was most prolific in the 1920s and 30s, so most of the people associated with him, sadly, have since passed.
If you or anyone you know have any stories about Kid Cann from your own life, we'd love to hear them and maybe include them in the podcast, anonymously if you wish, of course. Please email us at volsteadland@collectedsounds.com or reach out using the phone number in the show notes and leave a voicemail. Don't worry, no one answers that line. We just check voicemails and texts.
Also, be sure to check the show notes for links to all our socials, as we'll be posting case files, photos, and other fun extras. You can find us on your favorite podcast app or on Amazon, Spotify, Stitcher, or Apple Podcasts.
We'll end today with the full version of the theme song. This is The Last Prayer to Isadore Blumenfeld by Paulo for Lee. I discovered this song while researching Kid Cann on YouTube, but that's a story for another episode.
When I was a child, I ran for the bimps. Been so many downs, so many bits. Now I'm coming down, you'll lower your looks. I was born from worth for your limbs. I'll burn your bones. Bill, James, and Walter, God bless them. And then one I had in Warner twice. Then pigs learned from East, she was in fame. I burned her bones. One day Mayor came down to the club. Then we put on Wanderer's Golden Fire. They all laughed so much, call me Kid Cann. But they do have left one bad last breath. The bad last prayer.
This podcast is produced by me, Amy, and is part of the Collected Sounds Network. We hope you will join us for Volsteadland coming soon. Okie doke.